This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Know-How is brought to you by CashFly.
This episode of Know How is brought to you by Whole Home. Whole Home is more than a smart thermostat. It's a home energy controller that helps you save money and displays your energy use in real time. For a 30% discount, visit wholehome.com/twit. And by the Ring Video Doorbell. With Ring, you can see and talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like caller ID for your home. Right now, get free FedEx shipping when you go to ring.com/knowhow.
Today on Know How, killing drones,
Getting rid of that annoying Windows 10 nag screen,
a 3D printer that does more than 3D print,
and your questions, our answers.
This is what happens when you don't mute us. Off the rails.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Know How. It's the Twitch show where we build, bend, break, and upgrade. I'm Father Robert Ballecer.
And I'm Bryan Burnett.
And for as long as we need it to go, we'll be showing you some of the projects that we've been working on so you can take them home and geek out on your own.
Yeah, I'd like to say as long as we can torture Josh Windish, who is filling in for Alex Gumpel today.
Wait, who's Alex Gumpel?
I mean, sorry, Hal Grumpel.
Hal. Yeah.
Hal. Yeah,
So I heard you broke his arm over the weekend, and now we have no use of his skills.
I don't think there's actually any footage proving that, but yes, he did fracture a small part of his humerus, which we will be hearing about for a long time.
Well, I mean, that takes like 3 months to heal. I was wondering how is he going to run the TriCaster with one arm? That doesn't make any sense.
See, the thing is, I think he runs it with one arm anyway, so I don't know what the difference is going to be.
One arm, one foot.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Well, we wish Alex a speedy recovery, but until he gets back, you know what I'd like to do?
Geek out.
Geek out. And
kill some drones.
Kill some drones.
That seems, I mean, you do kill drones quite often, but usually you're the one behind the controls.
Yeah, normally I kill drones by controlled descent into terrain.
Yeah.
Objects.
You're trying to lift a very heavy object and then have it plummet right back down to the earth.
So I am no stranger to the destruction of drones, but there is, this story was sent to me a lot. So everyone in the Google Plus group, everyone on Twitter who sent me this story, thank you very much. I can't list you all because like literally 50 people or so thought I would like this. This is actually a concept we talked about when we got back from DEF CON because I brought this out and I explained what I was going to do with it. I actually finished the project. It worked really, really well, but I was told since it's highly illegal, I probably shouldn't show it on Know How.
And because you kept getting pestered about it, we're going to do it anyway?
We're not going to do it anyway, but we're gonna show people a product that actually looks like it's going to make it to market. It's from the, I love the name of this company. It's the Battelle Memorial Institute. Yeah,
because they're killing drones?
Yeah, they've created the Drone Defender, which Josh is going to bring up because he's got a link that's got a YouTube video on it that he can play. But it uses a Yagi antenna, which is just this. It's a directional antenna to blast 2.4 gigahertz RF energy in a very, very narrow azimuth. So it's a very narrow line that it's shooting this energy. So, right. So this is a dramatization, obviously.
Get that drone.
Get that drone. So most drones will use a 2.4 gigahertz control link. That's the transmitter going to the receiver. And if you throw enough energy in the 2.4 gigahertz range all across that spectrum, it's a jammer.
And that's what's illegal. Jamming any frequency like that is very illegal.
That is ridiculously illegal, especially since this isn't just 2.4 gigahertz energy. It's also blasting 1575.42 megahertz, which is the GPS frequency.
And is that why I felt so funny when you kept pointing it at me?
Yes, you're not going to have kids, so just FYI. No, but so the issue, okay, obviously you don't want to be jamming GPS signals, but they figured, okay, so if someone's flying a Phantom, I'm going to knock out the control link. But if I knock out the control link, it should kick in the return to home. But if I jam the GPS as well, it doesn't know where home is, and it should very softly flutter to a landing, which is totally not going to happen. That's not what happens,
wouldn't
folks.
It just fall out of the sky?
Yeah, well, ours, yeah. Like mine has a failsafe where it will start a lazy left turn.
Yeah.
But there's so many reasons why this is a bad idea. First, because you should not be jamming any frequency. That's not, just don't do that. That's very illegal, and if the FCC ever catches you, that is a huge, huge fine. But for me, the bigger concern here is, why would you take a craft that, even if it's being piloted by an idiot, is still being piloted, it's still in control,
right,
and make it out of control? Because if you jam the control link and jam the GPS, there is no one, literally no one controlling it anymore. It's physics.
Well, there's the opportunity of creating this video and then looking very cool with what I'm assuming is a M16 upper receiver attached to an antenna.
Stock on this.
Yeah, the guy had a red dot sight on it.
No.
Suddenly, this has become Call of Duty with drones.
And the other thing that you'll know, because this actually is, I think, probably the same kind of Yagi that they used in the video. It looked about the same size. Even though this is very directional, there is no such thing as a RF laser. You're going to be spreading out the RF energy the further away you go, which means it's not just what you're aiming at. It's anything that's in the area you're now going to be jamming, which is a bad idea.
So you were talking about this one time on Enterprise Tech, and there's a company that builds an automated system for prisons, right?
Yes.
That aims at drones coming in, and
they call it the D-droner. But that's different. All it is, it's a camera system with audio, an audio boom that can detect and tell you exactly where a drone is. So if, for example, if you know where a prison is, it will tell you where the drone is incoming when it's still 500 meters out. And you can have someone there and say, oh, look, thank you. I just picked up what you dropped off. Fantastic. But knocking it out of the air, we don't have a legal way to do it right now. You cannot shoot a drone out of the air. Please don't do that. And you cannot jam the control signal. Both of those things are way more illegal than flying the drone.
Right. So
have fun with that.
It's which evil do you want to employ?
Do you want to be stupid and dangerous, or just stupid?
And there's that shotgun shell company manufacturer that was advertising their shells as drone killers. I was like, well, how is that different than regular shotgun shells? Well,
because they're designed for drones.
Yeah, specifically for drones.
We did. We went back there. We're like, no, these will kill drones.
It's definitely not just rebranding.
No, it's not. Yeah. All right, now we will get back into some more drone talk probably in a future episode. You may have noticed we've hung off the drone builds for a while.
We have,
because there's a lot of other cool stuff out there that we want to cover on Know How, and one of the most requested things has been how to get rid of the Windows 10 nag screen. Now, I actually like Windows 10. I really do. I have it on several of my workstations. But I also have a couple of computers like these that I'm keeping on Windows 8, and I have one I'm keeping on Windows 7 for a reason, and that is because the driver support on Windows 10 for some of the things I have to use, not so great. Also, gaming support, not so great.
Not so
good. So, some games great, and eventually that will go away. The reasons for that will go away.
You don't want to be the guinea pig.
I don't. And so I have a couple of systems I've kept on Windows 8, and people have been asking me, how can I get rid of that annoying thing that pops up every time I start up my machine? or even recently, Microsoft had a thing where they checked the box for you to upgrade to Windows 10 in the optional updates.
And it also, doesn't it auto download too in the background?
It can auto download to the background. Well, that's been one of the most requested items from Know How, so we're going to show you how to get rid of the Windows 10 nag, at least until Microsoft counters it. But before we do that, let's go ahead and thank the first sponsor of this episode of Know How. Hey, Brian.
Yeah?
Wouldn't it be nice if you had a home that was smart?
Yeah, where I could see the amount of energy that I'm expending.
Exactly.
Save some money.
That's been one of the things that we've sort of dreamed about. Can I tell how efficient my house is? Like, for example, I like to drive my family's Prius. We've got two Prii.
The Prii.
The Prii, yay.
Yeah.
Yay. I'm not sure what the plural is. But just that little screen, the gamification of knowing how much energy you're using, how efficient you're being, it actually does have a big psychological effect. I'd say a lot of the fuel savings comes from the fact that you get to know how efficient you're being at any given time.
Right.
Well, I want to do the same thing with my house. And right now, there's not a lot of really good ways for you to do that. I mean, you can find certain devices that will tell you, the learning pattern. It will know how you use your home. But wouldn't it be nice if you had a unit that told you not just how much power you're using, but how much money you're spending, how efficient you're being for cost?
Yes.
Well, we have that. It's called the Whole Home. Now, the Whole Home is powered by Energate technology. Now, this is what the unit looks like. It's a learning thermostat. What it allows me to do is it allows me to, figure out how I use my home. Do I need it warm in the morning, or do I like it colder in the evening? When is it that I need to turn my air conditioner on and off, or my heating unit on and off? It handles all that HVAC very intelligently. Now, we've had products like that out before, learning thermostats, learning units, but what makes the whole home different is that it gives you these series of LEDs, and the LEDs are actually telling you how efficient you are being for cost. And let's be honest, that's what a lot of us want, right? We want to know, am I spending too much money? This is the only unit in the market right now that does that. It uses Zigbee to contact your smart reader, and it will actually tell you, hey, this is a bad time to be running your air conditioner because you're at peak power, they're charging you more. How about back it off, and I'll tell you when it's cheaper for you to run your AC.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That's exactly what I want. This is the future of the smart grid. This is intelligent usage of power. This is using power when you need to and not using it when you don't have to. Now, we're proud to have Whole Home as a sponsor of Know How. It is a home energy controller. It has that built-in learning thermostat. It has an easy-to-read energy display with one single screen of glass that lets us know how we're using power. And as soon as you install Whole Home, it will start minimizing your heating and cooling energy costs. It will show you how much you're saving in both dollars and kilowatt hours. Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to pre-eye your home, if you want to get that effect of the gamification of how much power you're using, you gotta try a Whole Home. Now, Whole Home is more than just a smart thermostat. It's a smart way of using power. Now, right now, you can save energy and money and see your energy use in real time with Whole Home. Go to wholehome.com, that's HOLHOM.com/twit to get your code and receive an exclusive 30% limited time discount. That's WholeHome, HOLHOM.com/twit. And we thank Whole Home for their support of Know How.
See, my dad would have loved to have that back when I was a kid, because he worked for... Are you trying to steam me out over there, Josh?
Yeah, that's it. Josh is trying the buttons.
Yeah, he's pushing all the buttons back there.
No, I hit one of the buttons you told me not to press. Oh, no.
Well, that's okay. But he worked for... now you're just pushing all the buttons.
This is what happens when Alex is...
All right, no more stories from me then.
No, I get it though. I mean, it's a nice way to sort of think of how are you using power, because it's not just how much you use, it's when you use it. If you use it when it's in demand, it's a bad thing, right?
Well, and my dad worked for PG&E, which is Pacific Gas and Electric out here, and he'd always say, "Do you know how much power you're using?" No, I have no idea, Dad. But he would show me the bill. I was like, yeah, that's a lot of money. Sorry, Dad.
Beyond that, I've always wanted to play with smart grid stuff. So I'm really anxious to get this thing hooked into. I don't have a heating system in our home because we're Jesuits and we're in the Stone Age, but I'm going to create a small one. I just want to see some data. It looks really cool.
Cool.
Okay, now we're going to get into Windows 10. Bryan,
yes.
You know the nag, right?
I do know the nag, and I was able to get rid of it by upgrading to Windows 10.
Yeah, this is true. So let me not dissuade you from doing that. If you are one of these people who has no reason to stay with Windows 8 or Windows 7, I actually really like Windows 10.
Yeah.
It works really well. It's great for video editing. I have my video editing workstations on 10. It's just certain devices, like all my USB cameras and microphones, have been having Windows 10 issues, like glitching and audio pops. I can't have that, so Windows 8. Gaming, I still have games that run much better on Windows 7 than they do on Windows 8, and they're horrible, or they don't work on Windows 10. So I have a couple of stations that are sort of held in the background, and I'm hating that nag. If you don't know what the nag looks like, Josh, can you go ahead and go to, this is what the nag looks like. This thing pops up. I just booted this up. So this is, I hate this thing.
There's nothing worse than a pop-up in your OS.
Yeah, right?
I have to deal with that enough on websites. I really don't want to be greeted by it when I first turn on my PC.
And it's not just that it's a pop-up. It's like that there's no option here to go and shut it off. And a lot of times when you get pop-ups, there's a settings that say never show this, don't start this on startup, and it goes away. There is none of that for the Windows 10 nag. Now, it's not just the nag. As you pointed out, some of these machines are actually downloading the installation file, which Microsoft had a good thought. They didn't think it completely through. But the idea was, well, when they do decide to upgrade to Windows 10, it'll be
there. It'll be ready. But what if you don't want the bandwidth being used up and you don't want the space taken up?
Right, like if I have an SSD, I don't want to use 3 to 4 gigabytes of my drive to store a file I might use at some time in the future.
Yeah.
Now, people have been trying different ways to get rid of it. In fact, the Windows Super Site, the Win Super Site with Paul Thurrott, they came up with a really good tutorial for going into the Windows registry and removing all traces of it. I'm not a big fan of doing that. It's a good method. I want to show you one that's a tiny bit simpler and I think is actually a bit more permanent.
Yeah, I'm always a little hesitant to recommend people going into the registry if they've never tinkered in there before.
Yeah, it's a really good way to nuke your system.
Yeah.
But okay, so here's what we're going to do. Josh, go ahead and go back to my computer. What we've got here is we've got this, I'm going to get rid of this Windows 10 nag. You have to know why that nag pops up. And it pops up because of a few different updates that were offered for Windows 7 and Windows 8 machines. Specifically, the one I want to deal with here is called Update for Microsoft Windows KB3035583. So that's 303.55.83. It doesn't say what it does when you try to do the update screen, but what it allows it to do is it allows Windows to install a directory onto your system, your Windows system folder, that will make that pop up every single time. It's also the one that's responsible for doing the nasty download. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and drop into Windows Update. So I'm in the non-tile or non-metro version of Windows here. I'm on the desktop. And if you go into View Update History here in the corner, it will give you a list of everything that's been installed. Now, that's nice, but we already know it's installed if you're having the Windows 10 nag screen. So instead, if you go ahead and zoom in a little bit, Josh, I'm going to jump into the windows called Installed Updates. Now, this is where it will actually allow me to get rid of stuff.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group everything under the names, and I'm going to go down to the bottom. And again, I'm looking for Update for Microsoft Windows KB303.55.83. So scroll down, 303. Where are we? Oh, wrong way.
Yeah, there are a lot of different updates in there.
Yeah.
And it was probably early on that this has been on for a while. So
this has been on for very long. Although the other thing is you can't just, well, we'll go into that. Microsoft has made it annoyingly difficult to get rid of this thing. So 303.55.83, where am I? 303, help me, Brian.
I know, the screen's really tiny. I have to walk over to the TV over here. 583 is the last three digits.
Wait. There we go. Wait, up. 303.55.83. You know what? Actually, I degrouped it on this. Dang it. Okay, so
Padre.
I know. So yeah, you could do it this way. This is annoying. I don't want to do this. So I'm going to do it an easier way.
Tedious.
Let me give you a command shell link. So I'm going to right now. Actually, zoom out, Josh. There we go. I'm going to make myself a shortcut here. If this is actually a good tip. If you find yourself dropping into the command shell a lot, make a command shell shortcut on the desktop. Oh, hello.
Shortcut. So wait, what are you doing here? You're making a shortcut?
I'm making a shortcut
for CMD.
For CMD.
Oh.
Although I don't. Why did it not go away?
Do you have like a?
It's in the middle of the screen.
Oh,
now, when I want to run an administrative shell, I can right-click and I put Run as Administrator.
Okay, and you have to do that every time.
Correct. Well, if you want to run as administrator, otherwise it's not administrator.
You're going to have to
go ahead and zoom into this, Josh. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a line that will allow you to get rid of that of any update, really. So it's WUSA/uninstall /KB and then colon and then the number. So in this case, it's 303.55.83. And I want to get rid of it. There we go. And it'll ask me if I want to remove it. I say, yeah, get rid of that thing.
Okay.
And boom. I'm not going to restart now. I'm actually going to restart later because I don't want to have to reset the screen. But it's now gotten rid of that update. The problem is that didn't get rid of the program. The program is still there.
Oh.
If you go into your computer, so again, I'm going to go into my computer, C drive. Go ahead and zoom in on this, Josh. There we go. Windows, System 32. Right about there.
There it is.
you're going to notice there's a folder here called GWX. This is that insidious program that keeps popping up. I hate this thing. It's horrible. Please go away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete it. But Brian, there's a problem. When I try to delete it, it's going to say, oh, wait, are you an administrator? I'm going to say, yeah, I am an administrator.
Yeah,
Please
sure.
go ahead and delete it. And it's wait,
Oh,
no.
access
Oh,
denied.
heck no. This is one of these things, again, in Windows 8. It's not going to give you ownership. So I actually found a while ago. It's called a take ownership script. All it is it allows me to insert a little entry into the registry that gives me an extra option on my drop-down menu so I can take ownership of any folder.
Okay.
This is incredibly dangerous, folks.
Yeah.
Incredibly dangerous because you could take ownership of a folder that you really shouldn't delete, and it will bork your Windows installation.
Shouldn't you just delete System32 anyway? Just
Just get rid of it. It takes up a lot of space.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, but just to show you, Josh, go to my computer again and zoom in. This is the script I'm going to run. It's the takeownership.reg. And if I edit that, it will show you what's in there. I always take a look at anything that's going to edit my registry because it would be a really
Where did you download this from?
there's the folder. The link is in the
doc.
the doc. Right.
Okay.
So actually, let me format. I need you to be smaller so people can actually see you. How about 28?
I mean, I could see it really
go.
well. It's just kind of.
So I took a look at everything that's inside of that registry script.
Yeah.
This is totally okay. All this is doing is it's allowing me to have an extra item on my menu that will run through all the command shell parts that I would need in order to take ownership of a folder.
Okay.
So
okay.
what I'll do with this is I'll go ahead and run the script, and it will add that to my registry. And now, if I go back to that, remember that nasty little folder that I really don't like?
Yeah, that says you don't have. What do you mean you don't have ownership
What do you mean? I am
over
the owner. This is my computer. So C, Windows, System32, GWX. Now, again, remember, if I try to delete it, it's just going to tell me, no, you need to take ownership of it. And
okay,
I can't
fine.
do it.
I will
but if
take
I
ownership.
right-click, I can now take ownership.
Nice. And that option was not there before.
That was not there before.
Woo.
Yeah, did all that stuff. Now that's all the dependencies. So now I own this,
okay.
and now I should be able. Oh, I have it open. hold on. Wait.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You do have ownership over it, but if it's open in another area.
It doesn't.
Try it.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna. This is the other thing I hate about Windows.
What's that?
The file's open, so I can't get rid of it.
Oh,
so
yeah,
actually,
so you
hey,
gotta
Josh,
go-
come back to us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to restart real quick, so it gets rid of all the.
Could
things
you
that
go
might
into
be
like
leaking the file?
Oh, I guess
Yeah.
even if you went in Task Manager, you can.
You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's actually very difficult to figure out what's accessing the file at any given time. So what my favorite thing to do?
Yeah.
Just restart Windows. It wipes it clean. Then you should be able. We own the folder now, so we will be able to.
So
delete
once
it.
you set the ownership, it stays.
It stays.
Okay.
There is one more step that you're going to have to do. I'm going to let you do this one on your own because it's pretty simple. If the next time you do a Windows update, KB 30355 or what 3035583 is going to be back in there. If you let it reinstall, this will happen again.
Right, because once it doesn't, my Windows will do the auto update check, and it'll see that the update is missing, and then try and re-download it again.
Right, and you'll actually see it in the list of optional updates.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I think this will be in the list of mandatory updates because they consider it a security update. It will have that update. If you let it reinstall, it will recreate the directory. It will recreate those programs. It will start up again, and you'll get your nag screen. We don't want that. In fact, here, go ahead and go back to my computer, Josh. You'll notice that even though we've removed that update, my nag screen is back. And the reason why the nag screen's back is because we have not yet deleted that directory.
Right, because that process was in when you took ownership of that program, but then we couldn't delete it because it was open otherwise.
Correct. And actually, where are you? WGX. Let's get rid of you.
You can show that, Josh.
Where's that?
GWX.
GWX. This is ticking me off. That's the thing that's actually accessing it. Oh, well, when I'm going to shut the thing down. Then when I shut it down, since I've taken control and taken ownership of that folder, I can go ahead and delete it. Once I delete it, that thing will be gone.
Right.
And then I just make sure that the next time I go into Windows Update, I hide that. In fact, let me show you how that works, because I know there's some people out there who don't play with Windows Update all that much. But let's do it here. If you check for actually I don't want to check, it's going to take too long. If you right-click, you can hide an update. So what I want to do is I want to check the next time I do a Windows update for KB3035583, hide the update so that it will never be installed.
Do you have to worry about the KB2952664?
Yes, that's, I think, mostly Windows 7 machines. The one that I have found the most annoying is the 3035583. Okay, now let me say this. This is kind of the sad part.
Yeah.
That's not to say that Microsoft can't rename it. And if enough people do this, they'll rename it, they'll call it something else, and it will reinstall. But then you just have to keep checking the user groups to see what it is that's causing it and delete that.
Or just upgrade to 10, Padre.
No. No. See, that's the thing that's ticking me up. I do like 10. I'm actually a supporter of 10. I really, really enjoy the OS.
Yeah.
But it's like, Microsoft, it would be trivial for you to have...
Could I just...
Something, no, don't remind me. I will do this when I'm ready.
Right.
Stop popping up.
Well, and you and me are kind of the same. We're pretty OCD about our desktop screens. Like, I don't want to see the little tray icon. Like, even if it's not popping up, it bugs me when I see the little Windows icon down there and stuff.
Well, it's sort of like, this is my system. If it's my system, it should run the way I want it to run.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the whole idea. So why are you trying to get rid of that?
Yeah, well, that's why I've updated to 10, and I just gave in, Padre. I caved. And honestly, the main reason was so that I could stream my Xbox One games to my laptop.
Which is actually very cool. I will show you a video. We were able to do that at the device night, which you didn't come to because you punked out.
I was tired. Tibbs needed me.
Folks, but okay, so that's how you get rid of a Windows 10 nag. Now, if you've got another solution, if you're one of the people who likes the registry solution from the WinSuper site, that's fantastic. But if you've got another way to do this that might be a little easier on people who are really worried about getting into the registry or playing around with system directories, make sure to jump into our Google Plus group, because that's a nice place to be, and it's a nice place to share some knowledge.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, when we come back, it's time for us to look at your questions and give some of our answers. We've actually got some really good questions dealing with the creation of an electronics kit, how not to blow up your electronics, and for those people who are really looking to be winners, what you'd want to do if you want to link your tablet or your phone to a TV.
Right.
Yeah. But before we do that, let's go ahead and jump back over to a nice little conference that we saw a few weeks back here in San Francisco called TechCrunch Disrupt. We saw a 3D printer that I believe will be the future of makerspaces. 3D printing has taken the world by storm, and Disrupt is no exception to that rule. I'm standing next to Sean Lin from Flux, who's going to show us what the future of 3D printing may look like. Sean, this is a work of art, but it's also not just a 3D printer, it's also a laser engraver and perhaps a milling machine. Tell me a little bit about this.
Okay, what makes this possible is because of this magnetic design, so you can switch between different functions. So it's a laser head, you can use it to do laser engraving. It's also a 3D printer, and it is actually a 3D scanner as well. It's a built-in 3D scanner, like this one. Yeah, so it's all in one, and it will be there will be more and more modular function in the future. Yeah. This printer has really taken the 3D world by storm because it is so unconventional. We're used to having multi-axis machines with straight arms that are run on stepper motors. You've got this beautiful 3-column design that really allows for more degrees of motion. Not only that, can you show us what it looks like when you swap out the heads? It's just a magnetic system that allows you to pull off the current head, like the 3D printing head or the laser engraving head, or say the CNC head, plug in one connection and be on a different function. Can you go ahead and show that to us? just that simple. That you put the magnets and remove the adapter, then can use it to a laser head like this one. Yeah, but because it is for printing, so it's a filament. Yeah, so you should remove it. So for the laser function, it doesn't need the filament. Yeah, can remove it. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, it's remarkable. It's a great idea to have a multi-function tool that can do all the things that a maker may want to do, from scanning to printing to milling and, of course, engraving. Now, let's get some of the specs down. How big of a print can I make with the Flux?
The max diameter is 17 centimeters, and the height is 22 centimeters. Yeah.
And if they wanted to pick one up, what's the going price right now?
We take pre-orders at $749, and we will start the shipping for the pre-order we take now in January next year. Okay.
Oh, of course, the Flux is going to use standard STL files, so basically if you've been designing 3D objects, this will be able to print it. But I think the bigger question here is, where would you like to see this technology? I'm sure we're going to start to see some copycat designs. It is such a flexible design that, you've got so much that you can build into this. Where would you like to see this be in 1, 2, say 5 years from now?
Okay. We think that it is not a hardware product. It's more like a user experience for makers. So we also develop our own software, and we think that as maybe 2 years, 3 years later, that we have our own platform, there will be a lot of people passionately 3D printing in technology and creativity. That's what our vision is, our future of Flux is.
Sean, thank you very much for talking to us. Now, if they wanted to pre-order or just find out more information about the Flux, where can they go?
Okay, our website is flux3dp.com. Okay.
I'm Father Robert Ballecer, and the future of your makerspace may be in Flux.
You just can't help those puns at the end, can you?
I know, it's part of me. I can't stop it, Bryan.
It must be your flux capacity.
Actually, there was a couple of segments at Maker where I like, okay, I'm not going to do it.
Right,
and
then
we got to the
it.
end, I was like, this feels wrong. I should say something really corny right now.
And you did. You nailed it. Yeah.
That's what happened. Now, I like that Delta. I've been seeing more and more printers that use the Delta because if you use the standard straight axis, what happens is you typically have an arm that goes up and down and left and right, but not forward and back, because then the mechanism becomes too complicated. So you have the plate that goes forward and back.
Right.
So this goes up and down, left and right. The plate goes in and out.
Right.
Anytime you're moving the print, it's not great. I mean, because you don't want to move around the print. It makes it for an unstable surface. So the Delta allows you to get all those axes of motion without ever having to move the build plate. It also means that you can have a bigger build plate because you don't have it moving around the inside of the machine.
Right.
And what I love about the Flux version is because it's using that little magnetic connecting system.
Yeah.
I can put the 3D print head, I could put a laser engraver, and it's got that 3D scanner built in. That's not a bad deal.
Yeah, and then he said $749, I think, for the whole thing.
Yeah.
So not too shabby.
Not too shabby. And actually, I'm starting a big kick now. I've been working on this for a while, but we're trying to get a bunch of different 3D printers into the know-hole.
I would be totally up for that.
But I want to be able to test the strengths and weaknesses of each type. So I've got a Delta coming in, hopefully from Flux. I mean, they're in Taiwan. It's very difficult to communicate. I think we've got a RepRap coming in, which is that sort of low-cost, home-built system that it can be a great printer if you build it right. So you really have to build it right.
If you build it, 3D prints will come.
Yeah, and I think we've got to the point where we're kind of outgrowing the DaVinci Junior. I mean, it's nice, it's easy, but the filament is expensive, and that build plate's getting a little small.
Well, it seems like that one was a great way to get started with 3D printing, but then the bed's kind of small, and like you're saying, it's not like the Delta design.
Yeah. And I like the idea that I could get a head that would be a CNC head, like a little Dremel on a head, and it would do computerized cuts for me. I mean, imagine being able to 3D print something and then come back over it with a CNC head before you remove from the platform and Dremel out the pieces that because right now, if you want to create a part that has a lot of empty space, either you flip it around so that you don't have a lot of material over an empty space, or you do what's called raft, and you have to drill out the raft. Imagine if you could have a printer that would print it out and then remove the material that shouldn't be there.
That would be cool.
Yeah?
I like that idea.
I like that idea. Before we move on to your questions, our answers, I did want to show you, it took a while, I had to reboot this thing again, but Josh, go back to the computer. I did get rid of that, you have to zoom in there. I got rid of that directory. It finally went away. I took ownership, and I had to kill a process that was still using the software. And you'll notice, oh, that little icon down at the bottom. Here, Josh, go to the bottom. Scroll down.
The toolbar down there.
Go to the right.
There we go.
Hey, wait. Look.
Enhance.
It's gone.
Zoom.
It's gone. There's no longer the Windows nag screen. Again, this will stay like that for as long as an update doesn't get installed that reinstalls that directory, but it does work. You just kind of have to stay constantly vigilant because Microsoft will want to put it back.
Yeah, you just have to hope that you can get through it in a timely fashion. Timely fashion.
Yeah. Speaking of timely fashion, you know what's always in fashion?
I don't know. Black?
Home security.
Oh, home security.
Home security. Black, although black was a good guess. Black was a very good guess. Oh, you have seen this. This is the Ring Video Doorbell, and I can't talk about it enough because this is a product that I actually got before they were a sponsor of the Twit TV network. I mean, I was that impressed with the solution. I saw it at CES a couple of years back that I got one for my parents' home because I worry about them.
Yeah, because they live in a kind of a retirement.
It's a retirement
area.
Unfortunately, you know what goes hand in hand with being in a retirement area? People know that there's elderly people who go up to the club for long hours of the day. They get cased. In fact, the home on the left and the right of my parents' home has been burglarized. And they say it was by someone who would just knock on the door.
Right, see if anyone answered.
And then break through a window.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we could get rid of that with the Ring Video Doorbell. Now, this is what's inside the kit. Josh, you're going to want to go to the overhead for this one. What I like about this is Ring understands that you can't make the installation of something like a doorbell difficult. So they include all the pieces that you need. You've got the drill, you've got the bit, you've got the level, and of course that's the Ring Video Doorbell. It works just like a doorbell. You push the button and it makes a sound on the inside of the house to let you know that there's somebody there. But it's so much more. Imagine a doorbell that you could answer on your smartphone from anywhere in the world. And I mean that. My parents were on vacation until recently. They were in Bora Bora, and they answered someone, the UPS guy who had come to the front door. And they told him...
had a conversation with him?
No, they did. They had a conversation with him. They told him, can you deliver it next door? It was the coolest thing ever. That's funny. Now, here's how it works. There's this little adapter plate. This is what would connect to the wiring you have going to your existing doorbell, because your existing doorbell has a little bit of voltage.
But what if you don't have an existing doorbell?
If you don't have an existing doorbell, on the back here, there's a micro USB connector that allows you to charge the Ring Video Doorbell. It's good for 1 year on a charge. Now, once you are connected to your home network, it means that you've got caller ID for your house. Now, here is the actual application I have on my phone. This is the Ring Video Doorbell that I have installed on my family's home in Las Vegas. Now, for example, it will tell me not just when someone has rung the doorbell like this, that was an accepted call, but it will also tell me if there's motion. Did someone come into the courtyard and do something while I was not there? So this is 4:05 p.m. from yesterday, and it will show you, because these videos are uploaded to the cloud, it will show you what was going on inside the courtyard at that time. And in this particular case...
Is your neighbor trying to steal electricity again?
I hope that this is just a lens flare or something.
Or is it?
Oh, see, I hear there's a truck pulling up. So if this would, if I let it continue, I won't, because I don't want to out someone who actually came to the house for a good reason. But this would allow us.
Your dad walking out in his boxers.
This would allow us to upload that video or download that video to our phone, so I could have it as a reference.
Well, so Jason Howe of All About Android made a good point that Halloween is coming up. He's not going to be home during the time, so he's going to leave a bowl of candy out. But there's always those kids that take more candy than they're supposed to. It says take one, be kind, and then leave.
I don't know. That takes the fun out of Halloween. I mean,
I think you were one of those kids that took more than one candy.
No, I was one of those kids that I would just buy a bag of candy from the store.
And then
I was such a killjoy. I'm like,
figured that.
Wait,
why would you go door to door?
8 hours going door to door. I have $5. I could buy more candy than you can ever collect.
So anyway, he's gonna use it to try and keep track of what kids were gonna be stealing more candy than they deserved.
There we go, folks. Why not try the device that was called one of the best gadgets of 2014 by Time Magazine. That's the Ring Video Doorbell. It's not just a gadget for you to find out who's coming to your home. It's a gadget to get a peace of mind. And right now, because you are a member of the Twit Army, we want to make sure that you get the Ring Video Doorbell. So they're going to give you free shipping. Prevent burglaries before they happen. Go to ring.com/knowhow. That's ring.com/knowhow for free FedEx shipping. Again, that's ring.com/knowhow. With Ring, you are always home. And we thank Ring for their support of Know-How.
Cool. So what do we got coming up now?
You know, I thought maybe we should answer some questions. We don't do that very often anymore.
No, and there seems to be a lot of questions out there.
There are. We've got some really good questions in our Google Plus group, which again, Brian, where do they go?
Well, we haven't really made it easy, but if you go to Google Plus and you search for the Know-How community, it should pop up. So just look for Padre's big face on the icon.
Boom. Now, what was this first question that was all about not blowing up electronics, right?
Yes, about finding shorts before they kill you or your gear. Nathan Sikita asks, I have a problem I'm hoping someone can help me with. I was building my KH250, and when I plugged in the battery, it made a popping sound. That is not good. And then nothing happened. I decided to check the voltage and everything with my voltmeter, and I found out that in my 3-cell LiPo, one cell is now completely missing and shows 0 charge total. But each individual cell has a charge. I don't know what I did, not sure if the battery was just defective or screwed up somewhere with the soldering or connection. All the power wires are going to their respective color-coded opposite. Please help.
Okay, so I think he's checking through the balance connector, and it's very possible to have charge on all 3 cells. But if you've created a short, you can actually blow out the connection between the cells. And I think that's actually what happened. Could just be a bad battery, but this goes deeper. This is all about shorts. We've had a couple of projects here where we do that first connection of a battery.
Right.
And someone actually told me that I've never shown people how to detect shorts. I thought I had. I'm sorry if I didn't. I should have done that way before any of those electronics projects. But there's actually a very, very easy way to find out if you have a short in your system, and that's before you apply any power. Again, I apologize to anyone who followed our builds and didn't know about this method, because that's a really good way to cook electronics.
Yeah, by the time you hear the popping noise, it's too late, right?
The popping is the first thing, but also it's the smell.
Yeah,
it's
the smell, the heat coming from the flames.
The fire that's consuming your body. No, but yeah, the pops are always bad, because pop normally means you've blown something. It's a trace, it's a wire. Something has exceeded its electrical and thermal tolerance and therefore has burned away, which is bad because it normally means you've busted something. But also that smell, the ozone, which comes from arcing, that's normally my first indicator that something's gone really, really wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. But let's stop it before you do that. Now, this is a super cheap multimeter. I mean, I think I bought this like 20 years ago, before I became a Jesuit, so 23 years ago. It's been sitting in an electronics case all this time. So this was crap back when I bought it, and it's really crap now.
But it still works, right?
But it still works, and it does something very important called continuity testing. If you go look at the...
Do not all voltmeters do...
Go to the side view, Josh, and there we go.
Do not all multimeters do continuity
testing? They all
testing?
do. All the multimeters will do some form of continuity testing. And you'll notice that's the symbol right down at the bottom here. So if I turn my meter to that, all it's doing now is it's showing me...
like a little arrow with a plus sign next to it?
Right. It's showing me the resistance between the positive and the negative contacts, the common and the hot. 1 is at infinity. There's an infinite resistance between these 2 contacts right now, which is good. That means there's no short. There's no voltage. There's no current that's going from one to the other.
Right.
If I short them, you'll notice that number, I don't go back, there we go, it's dropping. And eventually it will drop. If I hold this really tight, it will drop to 0, which means there is no resistance. It's just the current's flowing straight across it. Okay. Now, what I want when I'm testing is I want 1. I want infinite resistance.
Infinite resistance.
Which means there is no path from one to the other. If it's anything less than 1, it means I probably have some stray solder. or worst case, I've actually put a wire on the wrong contact.
And that's what creates a short.
Yeah, it's a super
And that's
bad
the
thing.
same thing that happens when water comes in contact with like electrical circuits, because it creates that bridge.
Yeah, actually, I can show that here. So here's what water looks like. So
Here comes Padre's improv.
There we go. You gotta go to the side. Go to the side, Josh. See, actually, pure water, it doesn't do anything. Now, if I were to add salt to this, I'm adding free ions into the water, and now I would get conductivity. But so this is why like what do you call it? Brushless motors can actually work underwater.
Right.
Because water actually isn't conductive until you start adding things to it, like salt and other things that might add ions into the liquid. But yeah, generally water is still very bad. Okay. Now let's go ahead and show you how this would work in practical use. I like my alligator clips because it allows me a bit more control of where I've connected everything. So I'm going to go ahead and connect black to black, red to red. And just to show you I'm not cheating, these two, if I touch them together,
should have.
There we go. So it's going to drop the resistance, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now this right here, this is what you might see on one of our quadcopter projects. And actually, this is the part that's going to blow up a lot of quadcopter projects. This is the power distribution board where you're going to be pumping all those amps. I always tell people in our builds, make sure there's no bridge connections, there's no stray solder, because this is where you will hear the pop from.
Okay.
Or this is what will cause the battery to pop. We've got positive and negative connectors connected to these contacts on side. That's a really horrible soldering job, by the way.
Is this the one that I did?
No, I did this one, but I did it in a rush. I think this was from Vegas. But I'm going to go ahead and connect this one, this black, to my negative contact. And I'm going to connect the red one to my positive contact. And you'll notice, if you look at the meter, it's still at 1.
So we have infinite resistance.
I have infinite resistance, which means it's good. There's no path between these two contacts. I haven't bridged anything. But if I have bridged something, I'm going to simulate bridging with this other alligator clip. I'm going to go ahead and bridge a positive and a negative contact here. Come on, get on there. And there. Oh, hey, come here.
It went beyond.
There we go. See, that's bad. So if I see that, it means that I probably have some stray solder on a path, on a tray somewhere, or again, I've crossed over a wire. And I'm just simulating that by adding this jumper. If I remove the jumper, I go back to infinite resistance.
So if you did have solder instead of this jumper, what would be connecting? It would just like these two.
Right.
What would you have to do? Desolder that stuff?
Yeah. So what I would do is I would go to there. I would go over the paths of the traces here, and I would look for any solder that might be bridging, and I would just like scrape it off. I have a little scraper. I could just knock pieces of solder off. Okay. But again, one of the easiest ways not to do that is just don't put great old globs of solder. You know, this is a bad soldering job. By my reckoning, there's just way too much solder in there. Again, I was in a hurry, but you know.
You did not do Smitty proud.
I did not Smitty proud here. Yeah. But yeah, try to keep your jobs neat, and you'll be happy. Okay. But again, if you've got a multimeter, you've got a way to keep your electronics from blowing up. So please take advantage.
So you would recommend checking before you start plugging battery in?
I always check. Yeah. And again, I am very sorry if I did not include that. I thought I had included that, or I just thought people would know to do that.
Never assume, Padre.
You never want your first battery plug-in to be the time that you check for a short.
For a short, yeah.
Yeah. So
especially when you're building your own quad, yeah.
When you're pumping 100 amps through something, yeah, that's a bad idea.
The 4S battery.
All right, we got another one.
Oh, all right. This one comes from Steve C, and he asks, about the Slim Port Nano console, you know that a USB port on a phone or tablet can't be used to charge it and have data transferred at the same time, right, Padre? I don't know if you can charge a phone while playing an HDMI video from the port, but I don't think so. I have one of the HDMI adapters that connects to my phone and takes power from its own micro USB port, and all it does is, it powers the adapter. It doesn't charge the phone. While there could be some phones in existence somewhere that can charge this way, I don't think there are any tablets that can be while using the same port. In other words, I don't think the Slim Port Nano console is going to work.
Steve C, that's actually a very, very good point.
Challenge accepted.
Josh, could you go to the output 12, please?
Output 12? Do you have something?
It might be connected to this. Oh, so okay. Wow. How about that? So
What do
it's
you
doing
got
video
here?
out, and look at that. That's a charge symbol, Brian.
What is this? A little Nexus 5 you got here?
Oh, yeah, a little Nexus 5 action going on. Huh. So, Steve, you know what? We're sorry. You're right. It's not possible. You can't do that. You cannot charge and output video at the same time.
You just it
No,
looked
no,
like you were.
no,
It
no,
looked like you were
no.
just.
He said no.
Huh?
Just no.
What is this?
No.
What do you have here?
Okay. We're having fun. Sorry, Steve. This is, here's the thing. You were right about USB not being able to do that, but this is not USB. This is slim port. It's something new. It's actually very cool. This is the Nano Dock. If you go to the side view here, Josh, this is a Nexus 5 on top of the Nano Dock. This works really well. This gives me video out at the same time that it gives me charging for my device. So the idea is you have something at home that you could just plug in your phone or your tablet and be able to control it. Now, see, this also has a remote control, so I should be able to lean back. I can sit on my couch and control my device from a
Can
distance.
you scroll down there, Padre? Can you scroll down there for me?
Oh, what do you want?
Damn.
Oh, you're trying to.
Somebody's been
hold me here?
practicing.
Yeah, a little bit. Now, I will say this: this will only work on slim port enabled devices, and there's only like 30 slim port enabled devices in the world.
Yeah, because
So-
how many devices did you use before you
All
found
of them.
the ones
this
in the
was
brick
the
house?
only one in the brick house we had. That
And we
was
have a
slim
lot
port.
of devices,
We have a
yeah.
lot. I seriously, I emailed Leo, and Leo's like, yeah, go through my room. I plugged in everything in Leo's room, even one that was supposed to work with slim port,
Right.
and it didn't.
Because you had the OnePlus your
Right.
own OnePlus that didn't work. What we tried? Are these some of the
it
other
works
phones
with
you tried?
no Samsung phones.
No
There are
Samsung
no
phones.
Samsung phones or devices that are slim port enabled. There are a lot of LG devices that are slim port enabled, but they didn't work. I don't know why.
Well, this Nexus 5, yeah, this is an LG, huh?
Yeah. LG seems to have taken the slim port bug. I actually really like this technology. I thought this might be a good time, though, to broach the fact that there are other technologies that will actually work to
Right.
do this sort of thing. MHL, again, it plugs into the USB connector, but it's not USB, it's MHL. And actually, these three phones, so I've got a Samsung Galaxy 2, a 3, and a 4. The 2, I love. It will work straight on MHL. It is MHL compatible. I can plug this into an MHL-enabled TV, and it will display exactly what is on the phone on that TV.
How
Works,
old is the 2 now?
what? I got
Like
that in 2007?
Yeah.
2008, something like that. Yeah, it's really, really old, but it works. And then they went to the 3, and Samsung, being Samsung, they said, hey, it's MHL compatible, but you need to have the special adapter because we don't want to make it straight compatible. It was too difficult to keep the pins where they were, so we swapped the pins.
Good move, Samsung.
And then we got to the 4, which required this super crazy convoluted cable that didn't work with the 3 or the 2, and now they've just gotten rid of it altogether. So
So they learned their lesson then?
yeah, they learned a lesson, which is, our people really don't want to connect their phones to anything, so we're going to make it harder.
Well, I love that you figured out how to do this, even though the scope is a little limited. It
really
is possible.
It's possible. They don't
Boom.
make it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun. Let's do one more. And then we got to call it a day because we are running out of time here.
All right, this next one comes from Jason Perry, and he asks, does anyone have a link to the parts list for someone who is looking at playing with electronics? I already have a Pi, Arduino, breadboard, and jumpers. For the most part, I think I'm really after what are common values for resistors and capacitors, as well as other components, such as potentiometers that every beginner should have.
Okay, this is actually, especially since we're coming close to the holiday season here,
Yeah.
I really like the fact that Jason asked this question because I think a great gift would be an electronics kit.
Yes.
Someone who is a tinkerer, someone who may be a maker, give them a bunch of tools and a bunch of components that they can start to play with.
I think for my birthday, I got one of those things.
You did?
Because you were sick of me using yours.
No, because I loved you, man. And
Right.
I was sick of him using my stuff.
Do you have it here? Because I know it's in my desk. I can go run
no,
and get it.
I have my kit here.
Oh, all
So,
right.
okay, let's start off with the essentials. The essentials are, of course, they're gonna have all the tools you need to do some basic electronics.
easy
I'm
there.
sorry. I destroyed your Back to the Future thing.
Don't hurt me.
Oh,
Youth jail
hurt
project.
it.
We're saving that for the end, though.
So these are what I would consider the essentials. Of course, you're going to have a soldering iron, and I'm actually very particular to for beginners, the Weller 40 watt.
Yeah.
I totally bent that tip. It's got interchangeable tips. It's got LED lights in the housing that give you a bit more extra illumination.
I like that the most. The LEDs in the tip really help out.
It really does
Especially
help.
when we were at DEF CON, it was kind of a dimly lit open room.
Right.
And having the LEDs on there, I was able to get. Well, I still messed up on my solders, but that wasn't the.
But what I like about this is you can swap out between the fine tip and like the wedge tip and the bigger tip, depending on what you're soldering.
That's a good starter.
Plenty of power for you to play with. And Joshua, you've got a link for this. This is a $21 soldering iron. It's free shipping on if you've got Amazon Prime. Really good place to start, and it's a really good like the center of your kit. There are a couple of things that I would also suggest you get along with that. This is a set of helping hands.
You can always use that. Alex could use another set of those.
Absolutely. Now this, again, this is as old as my multimeter. You know how old it is? Because it still says Radio Shack.
What's Radio Shack?
And it has the Radio Shack emblem from before they became the Shack. So it's way, way old. This is crazy, crazy old.
Feels pretty heavy, too.
It's heavy. You want heavy.
Hit someone with that.
And like the one I got for you, it's a helping hands, plus it has a magnifying glass.
I love that.
Which is, you know, again, it helps you solder. So if you've got a link for that, yeah, this is about $6 or so. Nice to have because you only have two hands and one's going to be holding the iron and the other's going to be holding the component. So if you have something that's holding the component, then you can use your free hand for solder, which is nice. Also, don't forget to get yourself a digital multimeter. You've seen my really kind of clunky, cruddy, janky one. You can find one of these for under $9. In fact, I got a link here for one it's pretty decent. Again, it's going to be free shipping with Amazon Prime. Yeah, it works. It does continuity. It'll do resistance and capacity testing. So it's a nice complete unit. You're also going to want. Sorry, Jammer B has his. If you have money, get Fluke. Fluke is the business. This is the stuff. I was kind of hoping to get one of these.
How much do these cost, though?
A lot.
A lot. If you have to ask how much a Fluke costs.
But no, Fluke, I mean, you get really accurate readings with this, and it is a true multimeter. It does so many things.
There's continuity. I know what that means now.
How about that?
Boom.
Now, go to the next link, Josh, because you're also going to need some heat shrink tubing. When you're soldering, you're going to not want to short things out. Heat shrink tubing is essential for that. Get yourself a nice big kit, a bunch of different colors, different sizes, so that you can cover up pretty much anything.
That is very well organized.
Yes, it is. Also, desoldering wick. Don't necessarily need this, but it comes in very handy. Again, close to $3. When you heat this up, it will actually wick away solder. So if you've added too much, this is a cheap way to get rid of it. Although sometimes I just take the soldering iron and I tap it out just until, cool. Also a soldering can. Get one of these. About $9. It keeps your workspace incredibly neat. And that little Brillo pad, it allows you to scrape the edge of the tip of your soldering iron, which keeps it nice and clean.
So you don't want to use like a knife or something like that to scrape. No, use that.
Bad person. Bad person. Also, you're going to need some wire cutters and some wire strippers. I've got a cheap set right here. Wire cutter, wire stripper. Again, we're going to have links in the show notes so that if you want to get yourself a set, don't use scissors. Actually use a wire cutter and actually use a wire stripper. You will be so much happier. Now, that entire kit, everything I just showed you, is going to run you about $72.
But that's like everything you need to do
everything.
A lot of the projects that we've ever done.
Absolutely. Like that would do every project that we've done on Know How so far.
Right.
Which it's nice to have clean tools. It's nice to have tools that you know are yours. And it's also nice to have tools that you know how they'll perform. You don't want to get to the soldering part and not be sure whether or not that iron's actually going to act the same way your iron acted last time.
Well, I really appreciate you bringing all this stuff in for me. I mean,
I already got you a kit. You got one.
But I want more.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, Padre.
I hate that. All right, now let's talk about some of the other pieces that you're going to want. Now go put over there. Because those are the tools, but the tools don't do much unless they have stuff to play with.
Right.
Let's talk about my favorite stuff to play with. First of all, these.
Everybody loves LEDs.
Right? Yeah, LEDs. SMTs. These are surface mount strips of LEDs. You can get these. If go to that link, Josh. I buy them for $4 to $7, depending on what kind of color I want.
Like these are the most satisfying things you could probably play with when it comes.
And they're so easy
because they light up.
You give them power and they go.
Yes.
So yeah, it's always nice to have. And the nice thing about strips is you can cut them to length. So if you only need this much, you cut off the first link, or you need this much, you cut yourself a longer strip.
And they're not too expensive. Like, how much was a strip of these?
And these are the tricolor, so I can make these the 3 different colors. I think this was $11. Most of my rolls are like $5.
Right.
And that gives you a good, what, 16 to 17 feet of LEDs.
And if you bring them to DEF CON, somebody will come by and take all of them.
Can I have an LED?
Sure.
Oh, no,
LED?
can I have a box of your LEDs?
We won't let that go.
Yeah, that's not, no. Also, resistors and capacitors, fun to play with. I would suggest this. The SparkFun 500 is actually a really good starting point. It's about $12. It's going to include 20 different types of resistors from 0 to 1 mega ohm. So, you know, it also, this is a really good exercise for people to practice reading the bands. I totally forgot how to do do
Oh, yeah.
If you look at the color bands on a resistor, you can find out what the resistance is.
Yeah, there's little charts. Does it come with, it looks like it comes with the color chart. Nice.
That's why I like SparkFun. It's a good learning pack.
Cool.
Also, this 270-piece capacitor pack, Josh, go and show this, like 15 different types of capacitors from 16 to 50 volts, from 0.1 microfarads all the way up to 470 picofarads. So if you've ever wanted to play with like making a battery booster, you could start playing with capacitors.
Yeah, if you have the multimeter, you make sure not to short it out.
Absolutely. So what you want is eventually you want like a startup kit to look a little bit like this. So this has a bunch of resistors, LEDs. It even has a radiation sensor. Oh, nice capacitors. A radiation sensor in here. This was something I got from DEF CON after Bryan left. People actually came by into this, gave me a bunch of their components.
Oh, fine. After Bryan was gone, they felt all right.
Well, I mean, I told Bryan he should stay the entire, 3 days. But
I had to go home.
Whatever. Whatever. That's why you don't get the toys. But okay, here's the thing. If you're going to ask me what I absolutely want in my electronics kit, it's this stuff. I love these.
What is it?
This is a power adapter. This is from Ready to Fly. You may know them because I use them for pretty much every quad project I have. Do you have a pair of scissors, Jammer B? This is a 1 to 17 volt adjustable voltage regulator. Now the cool thing about this is this thing weighs 1 gram. It is tiny. It is a teeny tiny little device. But what it allows me to do, I don't even see. Can you see this on the side view? Yeah. So that's how big it is. It has input on one side. It has output on another side. And right here, that tiny little thing, I can take a screwdriver and I can adjust how much voltage it gives me.
Oh,
so
wow.
it can accept between 4.75 and 23 volts, and then it can output between 1 and 17 volts. Now, it only goes down, not up, so it's not a booster.
Right.
So if you want 17 volts, you have to have at least a 17-volt battery. 1.8 amp current, 3 amp surge, which puts this well within the range of most of the projects that we're playing with. This will power a Raspberry Pi. This will power an Arduino. This will power the flight controller on a quadcopter. And because it's adjustable, it means I can just dial in exactly as much voltage as I need, put a little dab of hot glue, and it's sealed.
Nice.
Now, here's what I really love about this. You know how much this thing costs?
No.
99 cents.
99 cents?
It's literally 99 cents. I bought about 100 of these things because I'm always looking at a cheap way to get the right amount of voltage because I always have something that's a tiny bit off. This is how I do it. If I want to take one of my quadcopter batteries at 11.1 or 14.8 volts and push it into like an EL strip adapter, which takes 3 volts, I don't have to use up a bunch of resistors. I get one of these, dial it down to 3 volts, I'm done.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I'd say put a lot of these in any electronics kit because it is a lifesaver. When you need to get the right voltage into a device, this is the way to do it. And the nice thing about it, it will scale up and down. So if I dial it in for 3.3 volts and I hook up a 7.4 volt battery, it will give me 3.3 volts. I put it on an 11.1 volt battery, it will give me 3.3. So I don't have to adjust it for every battery type. It just
to dial it in what you want.
3.3.
That is cool.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great device, and it is so cheap. Go and buy 20 of them. Get yourself a nice big box because you are always going to need some voltage regulators.
Yes, I'm surprised Burke. I don't know if Burke knew about these or had them because he was trying to do something with LEDs once.
That's
you should probably hide those from him.
These at home.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Burke, you didn't see these.
I don't think he's here today. I think you're all right.
Yeah, but I've seen people who they'll use like car adapters. they'll like take the electronics out, which they're heavier, they're bigger, and that's not what they're designed for.
That thing is
this
super
way.
tiny. It's like the size of a dime.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bryan, that is a lot of information. We've gone way over time.
Yeah, I think you really packed the show today.
I always do that.
Yeah, well, better to have too much than too little, right?
Yeah. Now, if the folks wanted to find a little something about anything we've done, from the links to the electronics kit to finding out all the steps for the Windows 10 nag screen, where do they go?
They go to twit.tv/KH, and I don't know, I feel pretty proud to say those are the best damn show notes on the network.
They really are.
And you're going to need it because all these parts have links that Padre has provided, and they will be there. And there's also handy ways to download the show of your choice, which is, you know, if you want, I don't know why you'd want the audio, but you could do the audio. You could download the different versions of video depending on the size that you want. So subscribe there.
Yeah. And don't forget to join our Google Plus group. This is not just lip service. I really do think the Google Plus group is probably the best on the Twit TV network. We have active users. We have people who are doing projects, who are asking questions. It's 9,200 members. Nice. You know, we're getting up there. And it's a really good place to post pictures of your current projects. We'll show it off here on the show.
Ask questions.
When we can. Ask questions. Or if you've been doing this for a while, you know what? Help the younger folk or the less experienced folk, because you never know where the next great inspiration is going to come from.
Yeah, it is a very eclectic amount of people that we have in there, and everybody seems to be able to chime in when someone has a question. It's really cool.
Absolutely. Don't forget that you can also find us on the Twitters. If you're not big on the G Plus groove, you're going to find me at twitter.com/PadreSJ.
And I am at cranky_hippo.
And, you know, this is normally the time we thank our director, Hal Grumple.
Hal Grumple.
Hal Grumple. But he's not here today, so we have to thank the Macintosh.
The Macintosh. Yes, that's his name.
The Macintosh. The Macintosh. Josh Windish. Josh, I don't know if you have a camera on you, but at least grab the mic and can you tell the folks...
What do you want me to tell them?
Where can they find you,
What do you do here?
If you could decide where to have people find you, where would you tell them to go?
The Twit Brickhouse? No, I'm kidding.
140
Online. At the Macintosh is my Twitter handle. TheMacin Josh.
You did a great job today, Josh.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks for the help.
Well you too. You guys did great. I was very entertained.
Until next time, I'm Father Robert Ballecer.
And I'm Bryan Burnett.
Now that you know how.
Get to the future. Youth jailed. Martin McFly. I forgot to talk about this. Back to the Future Day happened, everyone. I don't know if you heard about that.